Hey guys, Luke, and I feel Origins is finally losing its touch, and I'm only going to be talking about the Black Ops 2 version of Origins, by the way, because a lot of these problems that I do discuss can be taken away with Gobblegums relatively easily. Something else I do want to say is I actually proposed to my girlfriend last week and she did say yes, but that does mean a few things for the channel. That means I'm going to be taking on more sponsors, and there's also going to be more uploads, so I guess you guys do win in the end. She's also an Origins fanboy and doesn't agree with this video, so if you want to show your Origins fanboy support with her, comment Big PP, and if you agree with me that Origins is finally losing its touch, comment the color green because I guess why not. And one last thing, if we could get to 1,222 likes, I would appreciate that, lads. Thank you so much. Now beginning with what the video is actually about, for some of you this might seem genuinely ridiculous because Luke, Origins is the greatest map ever made. What could you be talking about? Like, I really think you're starting to lose your mind. Well, let me explain. My perspective on this comes from someone who's played probably more of just Origins than you have played of every single Zombies map combined, and I'm someone who's not happy with sitting down, playing Zombies for 45 minutes, getting to round 20, and just calling it a day from there. I like to spend a lot of time on my games to high round or complete Easter eggs or do challenges when I play, so try to keep that in mind as we go forward in this video. Though when Origins was released in 2013, I really didn't like it actually. For about the first year after release, I actually didn't even upgrade a single staff because I thought it was too tedious, because why would I do that when I could play maps like Buried, or Town, or Die Rise, where I could get set up within 10 minutes? But as time moved along, I gave Origins more and more chances, and genuinely it grew on me, and it became my favorite map in Zombies history for quite a few years actually, until Black Ops 3 released with Shadows of Evil. Now if you sit and really think for a second, those maps are very similar in quite a lot of ways, whether that be their quest for opening areas of the maps, activating Pack-a-Punch, getting your powerful wonder weapons, which are countered by mini-bosses every few rounds. There are so many similarities between the two maps. And even though Shadows of Evil had a rough couple weeks after launch, it settled into me as a map that rivals, and in some cases is even better than Origins in a lot of ways that they are very similar. And fast forwarding to the here and now a few years later, and Origins is going to be turning 7 years old in a few months, and with a remaster of it behind it in Zombies Chronicles, I feel like it is losing its grip as the best Zombies map ever made. Now no map is perfect, and I think we all know that. But with that being said, Origins does a lot of things correct, but it also does a lot of things wrong, and as time goes along, those are starting to outweigh the overwhelmingly good aspects and are beginning to put a sour taste in my mouth. So let's begin with the good aspects really quickly. Origins innovated the 4 wonder weapon model that we all know and love has been repeated so many times. It also has one of the best Pack-a-Punch camos ever, a realistic feeling environment, and has the Scar H and Scorpion, which are on no other maps. There's also the red perk bottles, the dig sites, zombie blood, Agartha, and probably the most logical Easter egg progression, which harkens back to the Vorkuta steps, and I just have to say, to this day, I still love that Easter egg, and it's still iconic. Now that I've kissed its ass a little bit, let's begin talking about the negatives. As I said earlier, I'm someone who's not happy with short games, and that's why the first term on Origins is a little bit of a pain in my butt. With there being multiple levels to it, the zombies spawn in a bit too quickly for my comfort, even starting on round 3 where they can begin to run. I feel it's a little too cramped because I want to keep my Mauser and line up zombies, but I end up dying many times because I'm just trying to save points to open the map up and these runners just get to me. And this leads into my next point of the low round setup on Origins. If you want to have most of the map open in order to get the ice staff pieces on round 4, you need about 8,000 points, and trying to do that is not easy, which again leads to more screw-ups and more deaths in the first room. So let's just say you do get snow on round 4 and you're gonna try for your ice staff parts, right? Well, what happens if you just so happen to completely by luck not get one of the pieces from one of the 3 areas that you can get ice staff pieces from? Well, you gotta wait until round 10 now. It is not possible for it to snow after round 4 until at least round 10. So now you need to wait all of those rounds and go through your first Panzer round without the ice staff, which a lot of the times on solo is the one that you want to have. And for Easter egg games, this is also a pain because you have to still wait for the ice staff on round 10, you have to wait for the fire staff on round 8, and the lightning staff, it's very consistent, and so is the wind staff, but the wind staff can take up to 15 minutes of just holding a zombie to get all of the parts. So on Origins, there is quite a lot of waiting, and if you don't get luck on your side, then you're basically screwed. So a lot of the times, I just restart my game because it's not worth it to me to wait until round 10 to get an unupgraded staff when I could just get on round 4 by restarting and then have it fully upgraded by round 6. Then we get to talk about the upgrades, which to this day I still only know the wind staff by heart because it's so simple and it never changes, but something like the fire staff or the ice staff are random, and the lightning again is consistent but has extra steps which take up time, and for it being the least powerful staff, it's not worth my time. There's also more crutch perks on Origins than usual, especially on solo, with Juggernog, Quick Revive, and Stamina basically being requirements for you to even do anything. And even though you can get all 9 perks, it is not an easy task and can take you until around 25 or around 30. But now we get to talk about my best friend ever, the Panzer Soldat. Oh man, fuck the Panzer. He's much worse in Black Ops 3 by the way, but that doesn't stop him from being a gigantic asshole in BO2. More specifically, I have issues with his flamethrower over anything else. Lighting up all the zombies in a horde just is not fair, and if you're even a little bit too close and you shoot your staff and it blows up all the zombies, you're going to end up downing yourself, and that happens way more times than you would think, especially with the ice staff, where many times you're going to be camping with the ice staff and the panzer spawns in and you don't have a lot of time to move away, so you just kind of have to run him into your ice staff, storm, and if he lights up some zombies, he can just insta down you without even touching you. And now I have no problem taking it down, right? It's part of zombies, it's something that everyone has to deal with. But my gripe is with the inability of, after taking it down, to successfully recover from that down and get back into the game. Once you get out of last stand, you have to deal with the panzer, zombies spawning everywhere because they tend to respawn quite a lot of times, running through the mud with no Juggernog, no stamina, and 99 times out of 100, it's a GG from there because you're just at the mercy of luck. And maybe I'm alone on this, I don't really know, but for me, many times right after this, I just get GG'd, and this leaves the biggest sour taste in my mouth ever. There are so many good things to use on Origins, but it can just get taken away so easily, and that's what bugs me. At least with something like Shadows of Evil, I still keep most of what I have and I'm not really affected that much by it down. But on Origins, a lot of the time you just are straight up screwed if you take it down. Even in co-op games, I feel like we've all experienced this, where we have that one guy that goes down on, let's say, round 15, right? And you're trying to go for a high round, maybe round 30, round 35, something like that, and they just can't recover after taking it down. So even though they aren't specifically actually a bad player, they just end up taking more and more downs to, by the end of the game, they're at 20 or 30. And that's just because Origins mechanics just kind of work like that, where if you take one down and you screw up at all, the pace of the map just makes it so that you can't really recover. That probably also has something to do with the tight corridors, the zombies spawn, and they tend to spawn in front of you a lot of the time, which leads me again to the staffs kind of being a crutch, where you can't really high round without them. And if you take away the Mauser and the Ray Gun Mark II, there really isn't that much that's very useful past round 20, so if you do lose all of your perks and a zombie does spawn in front of you, let's say going from the bunker that houses Gen 2 and Gen 3 up to the middle of the map, you're kind of screwed. And lastly, the staffs just take a long time. I think we all kind of know how long the staffs take. There really isn't a lot that you can do to cut down on the time that it takes to grab the parts, upgrade them, everything like that. It takes at least 20 minutes to get it and then upgrade it. Now I know I got a little bit rambly here, but my overall point is that Origins is a lot of time to commit to a game of zombies, and just for it have it all to be taken away from you within a few seconds because of the mechanics of the map really just overall isn't very fair. There's a lot more things that I can touch on, but I don't want to make this a 30-minute video, 45 minutes, something like that. I just wanted to go over some of the general things that irritate me a little bit and some of the things that I think that you guys can really relate to. And because Black Ops 2 Origins is turning on 7 years at this point, I think a lot of you guys probably haven't played it for quite a long time. A lot of you maybe play the Black Ops 3 version on Zombies Chronicles, but if you do still have the chance to play the Black Ops 2 version, I implore you to do so, because it might not have the polish that you thought it did a few years ago. And also, by no means am I saying Origins is a bad map. It's still a fantastic map, but I really do think it's starting to lose its luster, and I feel like Shadows of Evil might have the same effect in a few years from now. That's probably just because Zombies has evolved from the point that Origins was made, and you can say that probably about anything like Kino or maybe the World of War maps, but I feel like Origins is one that has kind of gotten a pass from most of the community. But last thing I will say is make sure you do follow all my socials in the description and subscribe if you aren't new around here. Anyway, I do love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.